Hey, morning, everybody. Welcome on a Tullymore Tuesday here to X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan. So honored that you are with us and will spend some of your Tuesday morning with us. I'm Matt Shepard. Trent Bally is with us. The Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. That's 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. Unbelievable comeback. I mean, you talk about a team that does the 180. Saturday afternoon, they were out of sorts. Colorado was a dominant force. Nathan McKinnon proved why he's one of, if not the best player on the planet. I know Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, they're in that conversation for sure. There's something different about Nathan McKinnon. There's something unique about certain guys when you watch them play. As good as everybody else is on the ice, they still stand out. That's when you know they are a superstar. When you're watching everybody and you're saying, man, that guy's good, that guy's good, that guy's good. But my eyes are always going to number 29 in blue and red. And that guy is incredible. That's exactly who he is. But yet Detroit shut him down. Thanks, Herb Brooks. Maurice Sider shut him down, proving why he is a Norris Trophy candidate. It was one of the more impressive, dare I say, the most impressive win of any Detroit team so far this year. Now, Michigan's win at Michigan State was really impressive. Absolutely. But what the Wings did after falling down Saturday 5-0, getting completely outclassed, for them to do what they did last night, something that no team has done this year, shut them out, something that only two other teams have done this year, win on their ice, Colorado ice, because they only have 3 regulation losses at home this year. And to see how steady Detroit was. I mean, there's a little bit of back and forth at times with the pressure, but you had almost as many shots on net as Colorado. Colorado had way more shots. They just didn't find the nets all the time, or find it toward the net, I should say. And you see what the amount of time that Mo Sider played. He played 28 minutes. Played 27 and a half, all right? 27 and a half. Next closest was Ben Sherrod at 22 and a half. So let's put that in perspective. I think Cale Makar is the best defensive player on the planet. He played 24-50. So 25 minutes. That's a couple of shifts more. Mo Sider was getting a couple of shifts more. That's the load this kid carried. It was fantastic. And a hell of a goal to start. 33 seconds in, Lucas Raymond with a pass between the legs of Cale Makar to Marco Kasper to tap it in. I think it's his 3rd goal in his last 9 games. And then Raymond would give you an empty net goal. So obviously you look there, but you have to look at what John Gibson has done too. John Gibson, he was great. Stopped 21 shots, 4th shutout of the year. And as I mentioned, just the 3rd regulation home loss for the Avs. Their first time that they have been shut out in the last 87 games. And the Wings will visit Utah tomorrow before the Olympic break. And maybe just as important, they get 2 points closer to Tampa, who's on a major roll. They've won 3 in a row and unbeaten in 9 of 10. And there are teams that are creeping up on them. Buffalo won again last night. So they're unbeaten in 8 of their last 10. That's a team that started out slowly, and now Tage Thompson and company have been on fire. So give them credit where credit is due. And that's important. All right. So really impressive win. Just 4 college basketball teams remain in their same top 25 spot as a week ago. Arizona, obviously, they're 22-0. They're off to the best start in program history. They were a unanimous number 1. Michigan switches spots with Utah, or with UConn, I should say. And that tells you how impressed everybody else is by winning in East Lansing. I've said it over and over and over again. I'll continue to drill it in. That's a tough place to win. The Breslin Center can be very intimidating for young teams, for teams that perhaps aren't as talented. And even teams that are. Teams go in there, they go, I mean, it's a raucous environment without question. So the voters obviously recognize that too. Michigan goes to 2, UConn to 3, Duke is at 4. Illinois makes the largest jump in the latest poll, up 4 spots. There at number 5. Nebraska, another Big Ten team, drops 4 spots to number 9. Michigan State is ranked 10th. So you still have, and then Purdue's 12. So you still have Michigan, Illinois, Nebraska, MSU, and Purdue in the top 12, and 4 Big Ten teams in the top 10. All right. Latest women's poll. I know we don't usually do this very often. Latest women's poll has UConn a unanimous number 1. They've won 39 in a row. Michigan is number 8. MSU is number 12. So a lot of love there. Good for them. Here's our Mitch Lanswell poll question of the day. We have one for you every day. It is Super Bowl week. You're starting to see players getting interviewed. You're starting to see various lines dropped at the microphone. A lot of people asking about Sam Darnold. And I give a lot of the Seattle Seahawks players credit because this is the same stuff they've been asking prior to the conference championship game. Before the NFC championship, a lot of people, because of the question mark about Sam Darnold, and he was up against Matthew Stafford, so a lot of people are like, okay, you guys are going to be a little bit of the underdog. Sam Darnold hasn't done this before, really. So let's explore what you like and what the concerns are and so on and so forth. And guys answered it very well, very thoughtful, very supportive of Sam Darnold. You're getting the same questions at Media Day yesterday. It's got to run old, right? But they handled it really well. So with the Super Bowl, and it's going to be more and more Super Bowls as we move forward. Okay, we know that. All right. I don't know how many different types of questions you can get in there, and how many times those guys. No wonder it's a week off in between, because so many of those guys are probably so tired of, answering questions after question after question. It gets really old every single day. Anyway, which team is more of a surprising Super Bowl participant? We're trying to keep it as Super Bowl centric without getting to who's going to win. We'll do that at the end of the week, right? Mitch Lanswell poll question: which team is more of a surprising Super Bowl participant, Seattle or New England? Vote at XB Mornings, and the results come your way. Speaking of the Super Bowl, I don't know if I shared this with you yesterday. I thought it was really, really a good one. All right, and that is, which division has won the most Super Bowls? If I said to you, which division in the National Football League has won the most Super Bowls, what would you say?
Off the top of my head, I'd guess NFC East.
It is the NFC East. The NFC East has won 14 Super Bowls, and that's led, of course, by Dallas Cowboys and, of course, Washington Redskins were really good, and so on and so forth. So I guessed the NFC East as well, but I would tell you this: there were some other ones that immediately my mind goes to the AFC East with the New England Patriots. But the NFC East, you got to know. I mean, every team has won at least one Super Bowl.
Yeah, at least 2.
You got Philadelphia,
right?
You got the Giants, you got Washington, you got Dallas. Second, what would be second? Which division is second?
AFC West.
The AFC West. You must have seen the same thing that I saw. 10. You got Kansas City. This is where I was wrong. I did not guess the AFC West. It was Kansas City, the Raiders, of course, Denver. Chargers have never won one. Then it's the AFC East. Patriots leading the way there. Then it's the AFC North and NFC West. West carried by, of course, the San Francisco 49ers. Seattle's got one. Rams have one. AFC North, of course, it's Pittsburgh that's carrying the heavy load there. Baltimore's got a couple as well.
NFC West would have been my third guess, so that's where I would have gone off the rails. But
yeah, well, NFC West would have been second.
That would have been my third guess after AFC West. I would have gone NFC West.
Oh, I got you.
But they're like 6th, right? You just said, or 5th?
No, they're 4th. It's NFC East, AFC East, or NFC East, AFC West, AFC East, then NFC West and AFC North.
Okay.
Then the Lions division, Packers and Bears only, and then the AFC South. And the South is carried, of course, by the Indianapolis Colts. All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit of Red Wings. All right, very impressive win. Some really interesting nuggets to go along with that win. We'll get to that when we come back on a Tullymore Tuesday. We're brought to you this hour by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
From the top to the bottom, I mean, it was a total team effort. Everybody was committed to playing defense, offense, getting the pucks deep, forecheck. So I think it was probably one of the most complete games that at least I've been a part of this year. I mean, we knew they were going to come. They're a good team, and they have a lot of skilled guys. We knew that they were going to have a push, especially there in the third. But we had put some pressure on ourselves. We wanted to respond, and I thought everybody did a great job.
Okay. A lot of voices there, right? Or is that all just John Gibson?
That's John Gibson.
All John Gibson. Okay. 21 saves last night to give Detroit their 33rd win of the season. Welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, throughout the state of Michigan on a Tullymore Tuesday, and brought to you by Mitch Lyons and MitchLyonsWealth.com. 33 wins through 57 games. 33 wins through 57 games. They're second in the Atlantic, all right? A couple points back of Tampa. But 33 wins through 57 games. Last year, they had 39 wins through 82 games. So it tells you how much better this team has been, how more consistent this team has been. John Gibson has been unbelievable. He picked up his 4th shutout of the season last night, his 28th career shutout of the year. Really has been, I would argue, Steve Yzerman's best move as general manager, as far as the trade is concerned. Drafting Mo Seider seems to be his best move overall. He's a Norris Trophy candidate. He's one of the best defensemen in the NHL, which is redundant because that's where the Norris Trophy goes. A team that 2 days prior had been embarrassed at home by Colorado in a 5-0 loss. 5-0 loss in hockey is similar to a 20-point blowout in basketball. So a 5-0 loss, and to bounce back the way they did and perform the way they did, knowing that Colorado team, and I know they've hit a little bit of a skid. It shows you how hard it is to be consistent. That team is as talented as any team in the world, Colorado Avalanche. You could take them to the Olympics, and they'd fare pretty well. I'm not saying they'd win gold, but they'd fare pretty well. That's how good they are. Speed, they've got it all, okay? Except for their power play, which is a little odd. Their power play is not very good, but I digress. Started out unbelievable, right? They were 31-2-7. That's how they started. Their first 40 games, they were unbeaten in 38 of the 40. They have struggled as of late, going 5-7-2 in their last 14, including what Detroit did to them last night. I'm sure San Jose is going to feel the brunt of it when Colorado hosts them on Wednesday. But the Red Wings, to be able to flip that script and do what they did last night, to get back on track, because everybody I've talked to, after you see them lose 3 in a row, make people go, okay, this is what happened a year ago. We are all poisoned a little bit by what a specific team has done to you emotionally in the not too recent past, last 2 years for the Red Wings, for example. The hard thing is not to carry that over to another team that you love. I'll give you an example. Pistons at the trade deadline. How many people have you talked to who have said, man, Detroit teams, plural, don't do anything at trade deadlines and just disappoint us? Tigers, Lions, Red Wings a year ago, even Dylan Larkin, the team captain, came out and said something like that. That's the assumption. People link those 3 organizations and their unwillingness to do something at the trade deadline with the Pistons this year. So anyway, and we hope that's not the case. We hope that the Pistons do make a move for a shooter, that the Red Wings do make a move for, a top 4 defenseman and a top 6 forward. Because that would be that'd be a huge deal, man. I mean, for you to just get one more defenseman and move Sandim Pellikka down a rung, that'd be really big for this team if you could get a top 4 defenseman. But anyway, Avalanche have lost just 9 games all year in regulation. That's how good they are. No overtimes, no shootouts, 9 losses in regulation all season long. Put that in perspective. Who's the best team in the East? Would you say it's Carolina? Carolina's lost in regulation 15 games. Maybe it's Tampa. They've lost 14. Maybe you think it's your own Red Wings. They've lost 18 in regulation. 9 for Colorado. 6 of those regulation losses have come to teams from the Atlantic Division. Badass. All right? And then the other thing is, and as I've mentioned, the Red Wings are the first team to shut out Colorado this year. It's not easy to do. You know why? Because that team, unlike anybody else, I mean, it's really not, I don't think it's close. Best offensive league. There's only one team in the league that scored 200 goals this year. Eventually, other teams will, but there's only one that has done it already, and it's Colorado. Nathan McKinnon, you would guess, is going to win the Hart Trophy. He's been that good. He is that good. And yet, what did Detroit do to him? Shut him down. And I know for a lot of people, it can be difficult to talk hockey. I know a lot of people don't necessarily get into it. I'm more of a basketball guy. I like football. Summertime, give me baseball. What does a team have to do to turn your head? You'll stay glued to the set for Pistons in Brooklyn for the entire game, but you won't watch the Wings play the best team in the National Hockey League? Seems a little strange to me, but maybe you just don't understand the sport. Then that's fine. I can tell you this team right here that you got with that type of resolve, like we always use that word grit, right? Oh, there's billboards all over Metro Detroit. This is grit. There's Brian Branch. This is grit. There's Jahmyr Gibbs. This is grit. Hi, Sam Laporta, even though he missed most of the year. That's what you get. Well, the Red Wings should probably do the same. They should. They should do something very similar. Because what it showed last night was supreme grit. And if you can, Steve Eisenman, who's got you folks in Grand Rapids who are listening to us on our flagship station, WMAX 96.1 FM The Game, you know better than I do. You're fully aware of just how much young talent the Red Wings organization has. You see it in Grand Rapids every single night. An AHL record on a regular basis, it seems like. A lot of depth, right? Steve Eisman's got young talent to trade. And not just a body. We're not talking about just a guy here to throw in the lineup because you need one. We're talking about an impactful player. That's what can happen. Does that mean they're good enough to win, more than one playoff series? Depends on the player. But I would argue this. When people tell me it's about defense and goaltending in the playoffs, and John Gibson has done what he's done, especially since early December, and you have a pairing like Seider and Edvinsson, you get that second defenseman, put him with Sherratt, suddenly you feel a lot better about yourself, don't you? I do. And considering how smooth their power play can look, a game like last night can infuse a lot of confidence in a lot of people. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. 866-838-4843. When we come back, a couple of Lions. Are they just yapping? Are they towing the company line? Or they truly believe some recent situations that this organization has had at its feet? We'll talk about that when we come back on a Tullymore Tuesday. Stay with us.
Huge here for the Huge Show that airs weekdays at 3. It's Super Bowl week 2026, presented by DraftKings and the Huge Show, X's and BrO's, and the Michigan Sports Network. They're going to give one lucky listener $1,000 in cash to wager on the big game on Sunday. Simple to enter. Just text DK to 21,000. Text DK to 21,000 and you'll be in the drawing Friday at 5:50 p.m. on The Huge Show.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Super Bowl 60 deserves a sports book built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. Yes, Seattle and New England this Sunday. When anything can happen, you know it. DraftKings has your back with early exit. That means if a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. And if you're new to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Here's what you do. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code HUGE, and you can turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In participation with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expires in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer. Okay, 35 after the hour. There were 10 openings in the National Football League this year. 10 head coaching jobs available. How you rank them: Clint Kubiak going to the Raiders, Mike LaFleur going to Arizona from the Rams. So Sean McVay has what now? Seven guys, I believe, who have made head coaches from his coaching tree. Joe Brady to Buffalo, so they promote from within. Seems a little odd to me, but whatever. Todd Monken to Cleveland, Mike McCarthy to Pittsburgh, John Harbaugh to the Giants, Jesse Minter to Baltimore, Kevin Stefanski to Atlanta, Jeff Hafley, former defensive coordinator for Green Bay, he goes to Miami, and Tennessee gets Robert Saleh. All right, those are your guys. I saw a recent article that also graded the head coaches. A+ was John Harbaugh, A- was Jesse Minter, so on and so forth. And then they gave the coordinators, new coordinators. Christian Parker's the new defensive coordinator in Dallas. And I was interested. Mike McDaniel goes to the Chargers, obviously. They gave them an A. Eric Bieniemy goes back to Kansas City, gave him a B. Zach Robinson goes to Tampa, gave him a C-, which is interesting. Jonathan Gannon was the head coach at Arizona. Now he's the defensive coordinator in Green Bay. Brian Daboll is the offensive coordinator in Tennessee. Sean Mannion is the new offensive coordinator in Philadelphia. Raheem Morris, the new, we talked about this yesterday, defensive coordinator in San Francisco. Declan Doyle, who exactly? Offensive coordinator for Baltimore. And of course, Drew Petzing. So just for, blanks and giggles, I wanted to know how they graded it. They graded the Drew Petzing addition to the Lions offensive staff as a B-. Here's what Yahoo Sports wrote. Petzing has a good reputation, even though his 3 seasons coordinating the Cardinals offense didn't have great results. Arizona was 19th, 11th, and 19th in yards gained in his 3 seasons there. So here's the conversation. How do you have a good reputation if you don't have results? What would the reputation be? And then what would it be based on? Good guy? Easy to get along? Hardworking? Great. Aren't most of us judged on results? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
The way I read that, though, is, and I'm not saying this is the right way to look at it, but the way I read that is, I think his reputation is more based on what the people that have worked under him say about him.
Gotcha. I would have guessed players, and I think that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Players that have played under him and under his schemes and whatnot. So the results aren't always there, but they enjoyed playing for him, and they thought maybe they believed in the system. It just didn't come to fruition necessarily.
Gotcha. They go on to write, to your point, Cardinals had suboptimal quarterback play, whether it was Kyler Murray, who was number 1 overall, or Jacoby Brissett, who was widely praised by national members of the media for playing the way he did once taking over the starting quarterback job. They say put up decent numbers, took over from Murray. Receiver Michael Wilson had a fantastic second half of the season. Okay. What about the first half of the season? And why wasn't Marvin Harrison, who you used as a top 10 pick, more influential in the offense. Here's what I know. I know when things don't work in Detroit for hitting in the Tigers, they want new coaches. When it doesn't work on offense, they want new coaches. Right?
Yeah.
You don't have a good power play? Get that coach out of there. This is what I hear. This is what I hear anyway. So if Marvin Harrison Jr., if you're not getting the most out of him, who's to blame? If Kyler Murray isn't becoming Kyler Murray, who's to blame? If Michael Wilson has a bad first half, who's to blame? You can blame the player. That's okay. But be consistent. Why is it the player there or not the coordinator, but it's the coordinator here? I'm confused at that. But anyway, they write there are questions over why Marvin Harrison never broke out that way in his first 2 seasons. Petzing is close to former Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. There you go. There you go. And there's some schematic overlap there, so maybe that was a draw. Trent, we're buddies, so that means you deserve that job. Given how many proven offensive coaches there are on the market and the attractiveness of running a Lions offense that has immense talent, the hire of Petzing seems a little underwhelming. But now he's got more to work with. Oh, I get it. So you become a really good coordinator when you have really good players. That's it.
Revolutionary thought there.
Why is it if you have at least 4 good players for Arizona? At least that's the perception. Kyler Murray, I mean, right? Were people not considered him? Did they not consider him a good player? Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner, right? Where is it? Anyway, on top of that, here's what you get. You get the free press down at the Pro Bowl. And of course, I mean, Dave Burkett's doing his job, right? In San Francisco. He's like, hey, Jared, you got a minute? Yeah, I got a minute. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got a minute? Yeah, I got a minute. Let's talk about Drew Petzing. Okay. Here's what he wrote regarding his conversation with Jared Goff and Drew Petzing. All right. Jared Goff has only had casual conversations with Drew Petzing. Casual conversations. All right. When asked about the offense, well, we're not going to build it from the ground up. It's always a reconstruction process to some degree. Regardless of it, it's the same coordinator or not, you go back, you look at what you were good at, what you weren't good at, how you'd like to change certain things, whether it's verbiage or process. So we'll do all that stuff with him. Remember, this is what Dave wrote. It's casual conversations, not in depth. Goff called Petzing's addition a home run hire. Isn't that interesting? Can you do that? I am not being nitpicky here. I know a lot of people feel like I can be, and that's okay. But can you call it a home run hire if you've only had casual conversations with him?
That was my first thought as well. I don't think you can.
I don't get that.
How can you? Because a home run hire implies that it's a home run fit. This is coming from your quarterback. You know, he's telling you, I think this is awesome. This is a home run. He's going to be great. I'm going to be on the same page as him. You know, this offense is going to be humming. And how do you know that if you've only had casual conversations?
Exactly.
I don't think you do. Now, sure, it's the right thing to say. So like you said, Shep, maybe we're getting too critical here. We're looking too far into it. Maybe it's not that deep. Maybe it was just lip service, you know? Just he was asked a question. He gives the best answer he can. Move on. I don't know.
I don't know either. To me, it seems like he's towing a company line. That's all. Here's what he said when John Morton was originally hired. Well, we were together in 2022. He was assistant on our staff and had done it before. He's been a coordinator before, has a lot of experience in our league, been around a lot of great coaches. I'm excited to work with him and see where we can go. He's a hell of a coach. He's a guy that's made a ton of difference in my career. I'm obviously a big fan. So if that's the case, and it turned sour, not necessarily turned sour with Jared Goff, with John Morton, but he did say some positive things about John Morton when he was hired. Now he's doing something very similar with Drew Petzing. And I'm trying to figure out whether I believe him or not. Are you just saying things to say things because he's now a member of your football family? Put that on the shelf for a minute. I'm on Ross St. Brown. Remember, this is the same guy who said on his podcast that fans don't know nothing about nothing. Okay? They don't know ball, is what he said. They don't know ball. And that he had to go to Wikipedia to look up Drew Petzing. So this goes back to what I was saying before. If he has a really good, it goes back to the Yahoo article, okay? The Yahoo article said, remember I read it to you, that Petzing has a good reputation, okay? Good reputation, even though his 3 seasons coordinating the Cardinals offense didn't have great results. If he has such a great reputation, Trent, why does Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's in the football fraternity, had to use Wikipedia to look him up? Whether you're in the football fraternity or not, do you know who Mike McDaniel is? Whether you're in the football fraternity or not, do you know who Zach Robinson is? Not that you have to have a well-known guy. That's not the most important thing. You have to get the right guy. I'm just asking. If he has such a great reputation, how does one of your best, if not your best player, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, have to use Wikipedia to look him up? Anyway, when asked about Goff or asked about Drew Petzing, St. Brown said he's excited to work with him. They talked briefly following the hire. Quote, I talked a little bit with Arizona Cardinals tight end Trey McBride. Obviously, Trey loves him. He had a record year, but Trey said he likes him. He's smart. He's detailed. So, I think it'll be great for us. That's 2 guys giving their opinion on a guy they don't know. And then what's going to be used moving forward? This is guaranteed. Moving forward. Well, Goff and St. Brown like him. That's what it's going to be about. And I don't want this to come off like I don't want Drew Petzing to be successful. I do. Who doesn't? Best thing to happen would be this guy kill it with this offense. And they get to the postseason. And he calls anything other than a Jameson Williams pass. And they roll their way to the Super Bowl. Love it, right? We would all be in favor of that. 2 thumbs up. And gets a lot of head coaching looks. That's what you want, right? I want to be what Kyle Shanahan is dealing with. Even though it interrupts his family vacations, he's got to find a coordinator because he's got guys who other teams want. That's a bonus. That's the stuff you're hoping for. But I find it very, very odd when you've got guys on the team and the Petzing hire is a couple of weeks old, and these guys still have only had A, casual conversations with him, and B, haven't really talked in detail with him or studied what he's all about, at least from those brief comments. Maybe they have and they're not sharing it, but neither one has sounded like they've gotten into it big time. Goff said, everyone I've spoken to about him prior to him being hired was glowing. In particular, quarterbacks who played for him. I think the thing that excites me the most is going to be the versatility. He's not tied to an offense. He's going to kind of run what we're best at and what we should be doing, which some of the stuff we've been doing the last few years that's worked. Of course, That isn't that obvious? Or am I wrong there? Why would you're taking over one of the most gifted offenses in the league. Why would you not run the stuff that they're quote unquote good at? Problem is, last year you're trying to figure out what are they good at. That offense was really good at times under John Morton and Dan Campbell. But there were other times, hello Minnesota, where they weren't very good. Goff continued, I think he's got the right personality and demeanor and teaching ability. For lack of a better word, to be able to kind of handle not only the complexities of what we're going to try to do, but like getting the ball to guys. That's the hardest part of our offense. We've got so many mouths to feed and being able to spread it around in an efficient way. Okay. Had two guys go over 1,000 yards last year. You had another guy who's in the Pro Bowl in Jahmyr Gibbs. You had a tight end who was on a really damn good pace. I'm a little confused at how that didn't work. I want to know what makes this guy different and creative and innovative and things of those qualities more than anything else. Freddie sends it's a text. What did Goff say when they hired Morton? Yeah, I read that. And what did Goff say when Morton threw the team under the bus before the Washington game? He lost his job. What is it he said? I know he said, I've failed Jamison Williams. What else did Morton say? Do you recall, Trent?
No, we can
Freddie's
check that out during the
to?
break here.
Freddie said, well, threw the team under the bus. Best thing for this franchise moving forward, they do not restructure Goff draft as a replacement for 2027 on a rookie, then get some free agents in 2027 like New England did this year. Best thing for this franchise moving forward, they do not restructure Goff. Well, Goff is going to be here for a while. You want them to play that out and draft a rookie. Okay. I don't think that's out of line, but it's not like there's a rookie worth drafting, unfortunately, right now. And you've got other needs. Goff's going to be your quarterback, whether you like it or not, he is. And I like it. I'm fine with it. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. This is a Tullymore Tuesday on X's and Bros, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Well.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget the huge show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. We'll be right back after this break, but while you're waiting, be sure to vote on our daily poll question presented by MitchLyonsWealth.com at XB Mornings on X.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Ferris Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
All right, second hour of the program. Thanks for staying here on X's and Bros, or thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. If you missed it last night, Red Wings with a big 2-0 win in Colorado. Stunning. All right. John Gibson, 21 saves for his 4th shutout of the season, 28th career shutout. And Detroit becomes the first team to shut out Colorado, keeping in mind that Colorado dusted Detroit 5-0 on Saturday, and yet they bounced right back. It was awesome stuff. Lucas Raymond had a beautiful feed to Marco Kasper 33 seconds in to get Detroit on the board, and then scored an empty netter. So the Red Wings are now 2 points back of the Lightning in the division, and they're going to visit Utah tomorrow. Latest college basketball poll, Arizona unanimous number 1. Michigan moves up to number 2. Michigan State pulls in at number 10. There are 6 teams in the top 12 from the Big Ten. Michigan at 2, Illinois at 5, Nebraska at 9, Michigan State at 5, or at 10 rather, and Purdue at 12. So that's 5 teams. I'm sorry. I said 6. It's 5 teams. And Michigan and Michigan State are in the top 12 in women's basketball in the latest poll. Michigan pulls in at number 8. MSU is 12. The Mitch Lyons Wealth Poll question. Always good to have Mitch Lyons part of the program. Had a great time with him and his beautiful wife, Angela, on the watch party on Friday night at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resorts Ascend Sportsbook. Had a burger there for sure. Which team is more of a surprising Super Bowl participant, Seattle or New England? So which team are you more surprised to reach the Super Bowl? Easy as that, at XB Mornings. And I'll retweet it at Shep Matt as well. We're talking just before the break about the Lions and Drew Petzing. Yahoo Sports grades it as a B- higher. They write that he has a good reputation. My comment was, if he had such a good reputation, why does it take Amon-Ra St. Brown to Wikipedia search him to figure that out? Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown told Dave Burkett of the Free Press, that it's a good hire. They're excited for it. What else are they going to say? Jared Goff actually said it's a home run hire. I don't know how it can be a home run hire when you don't know who he is, or that you've only had casual conversations with him. That's a pretty quick decision on whether or not you believe in this guy. And I don't know if it's smart to do that. Now, Freddie had sent us a text and said had mentioned John Morton's demise as offensive coordinator because of what he said after the Washington game. That Washington game is the first time that Dan Campbell took over the play calling duties. Now, keep in mind, Detroit had stumbled out of the gate against Green Bay. It was awful on a 27-13 loss. Next 4 games, they averaged over 40 points per game with John Morton at the helm. Now, in fairness, they only beat one good defense, at least what turned out to be one good defense, and that was Cleveland. They had 277 total yards of offense. So maybe the stretch was very misleading. Obviously, Dan Campbell takes over. They continue to do well offensively, shake things up a little bit. Sam Laporta gets hurt. Brock Wright gets hurt. That doesn't help either man who's calling plays. But perhaps there are certain times and there are certain things coaches, players, or management say to lose a fan base or lose a team. I didn't like when John Morton said, "I have failed Jameson Williams." You want to say that in private? Go ahead. Say it in public. I don't know what it does for you. I think it makes you look weak. I think it makes you look incompetent to a certain extent. Here's what he said. Trent was able to pull this up. Here's what he said after the win over Washington, in which Dan Campbell was calling plays. This is what Freddie's referring to. Go ahead.
It's protecting the protection and all of that. That's the biggest thing. I can draw up all these plays we want. If you don't protect and have sound protection so the quarterback can throw the ball, it doesn't matter. So that's the biggest thing. And guys, listen, this is fixable. That's the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? This is all fixable. And we've addressed it. I'm going back. One guy didn't do that. No, we didn't get it. It could have been big. I mean, you guys watched the game. And when you watch it in detail and everything, man, if you would have got that, if we would have done this. That's the biggest thing. We had a good scheme. When you break down, it takes all 11, especially on offense. Guys are breaking down.
Yeah, I think the longer he talked, the more he got to what he truly meant. But when you start talking like it's about protection, what does that immediately tell you? It tells you that you're blaming the offensive line and that you're looking to blame somebody other than yourself. And when you do that publicly, that's a problem. That's a problem in any sport with any athlete. You do not criticize publicly like that and expect to hold guys together.
And then you say it takes all 11, which we all know, of course, but you're
Mhm.
implying then that it's one or two guys that's not pulling their weight on a play, and you're blaming that one or two players, even though you're not naming names.
Yeah. And saying, look, this is fixable, good scheme, all that other stuff. Well, that's kind of helping yourself in that regard. Best thing to do is, look, we didn't execute the way we're used to executing. I know it's all coach speak. You and I both know that. You and I both have heard this time and time again from a number of coaches at a lot of different sports at a lot of different levels. There's a reason it's called coach speak, is because you don't want to say too much that alienates your room or alienates a player or alienates a group, a position group. Okay. So that's part of it. As far as the Goff contract, because Freddie said, I was under the impression that if they restructure him, they are stuck with him 4 more years. If they don't, and get out of the deal after next year. So Jared Goff made this year, well, the signing bonus and then the cap hit are 2 different things. We know that. In 2026, he is due to make $55 million. All right. If you restructure his deal, and he's got 2027 and 2028, right? I think 2029, he is an unrestricted free agent. So would you be responsible for that? He can go if he wants. It would be another 3 years, not 4 years, just so you know, Freddie. So you're fine with him being your quarterback next year for sure. If you restructure the deal, then what happens is he gets a bulk of money. I think it's like 40 million in the signing bonus is what happens. They make it a signing bonus. It gives you cap release. So that's going to free up about $40 million in salary cap space. Okay. And sure, you're kicking the can down the road, and the cap hit in the future is going to be big. And I'm not saying Freddie feels this way, but if people feel like there is go ahead and say it, go ahead, window for the Lions, then why wouldn't you kick that Jared Goff contract can down the road to get that cap relief and get the necessary pieces?
Make the push now. And along those same lines, why would you waste a draft pick on a quarterback in a draft class where the quarterbacks are notoriously not very deep? I can understand if you want to start the clock on your next guy, but I don't think this is the draft to do that in. Maybe wait a year, which I understand. Some people, it's hard to be patient like that.
Yeah, and I don't even, to say wait a year, I don't even know what that next year looks like.
And I don't either. I'm just saying, to your point about kicking the can down the road and being smart about, playing your cards right now because the window is open.
Mm-hmm.
Drafting a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round is not the answer this year.
And they don't have a 3rd round pick.
Sure, 4th round. So you have other needs.
Exactly. So let's just say, for sake of argument, they draft, and I saw this from Mike Payton, A to Z Sports, over the weekend. And we've had him on our show. We like him, think he does a good job. But his mock draft for Detroit's picks, all of them address needs. I was laughing while I was reading it. Well, they're going to take an offensive tackle. They're going to take a defensive end. They're going to take a safety. They're going to take a tight end. Well, all you're doing is addressing the areas that this team is weak. They need a safety. Oh, let's take a safety in this round. If you're going to take a quarterback, you're not going to take him in the 1st or 2nd round. If you believe in windows, you believe this team is on the verge that they can win, you're going to address the other necessary positions in order for this team to get better. You're not taking a quarterback. No quarterback is worthy. Besides Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, maybe a 2nd round pick. You want Garrett Nussmeier? You're going to use a pick on that and not play him for a couple of years while you're in dire need of a tackle, a center? A D end, a safety, a tight end, a linebacker? I don't think so. We'll pick it up there when we come back on a Tully Moore Tuesday. This hour brought to you by Meyer. Stay with.
Huge here for the Huge Show that airs weekdays at 3. It's Super Bowl week 2026 presented by DraftKings and the Huge Show, X's and BrO's and the Michigan Sports Network. They're going to give one lucky listener $1,000 in cash to wager on the big game on Sunday. Simple to enter. Just text DK to 21,000. Text DK to 21,000 and you'll be in the drawing Friday at 5:50 p.m. on the Huge Show.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
For the best morning sports talk across the great state of Michigan, you are listening to X's and BrO's with Matt Shepard.
Super Bowl is right around the corner. You know that. You're excited for it. So am I, and so is DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60. They want to put you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. They know anything can happen, and so do you. DraftKings has your back with the early exit. Here's how it works. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. So if Hunter Henry goes down and you were betting on him in that first half, you still get paid out. If you're new to DraftKings, this is the type of treatment you get. They care about you. New customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code HUGE and turn $5 into $300 bonus bets if your bet wins. It's in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio, and it's for a limited time offer. Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan on a Tully-Moore Tuesday. All right? We're brought to you this hour by Meyer. A text. They are not winning next year. Okay. Goff isn't good enough to take this team to the next level. Green Bay, New England, San Francisco, Kansas City always drafted quarterbacks and ironically won. So did Cleveland, and they didn't win. Minnesota drafted a quarterback. They didn't win. They let two other quarterbacks go, and their GM lost his job. Okay. Teams draft quarterbacks all the time. It doesn't make them better than everybody else. Your examples are good ones. Green Bay draft quarterbacks. Hold on a second. How many quarterbacks have they drafted? See, you can name the really good ones, can't you? You and I both can. You and I both understand that the Green Bay Packers had Brett Favre. See, this is a convenient thing. I do it too. This isn't just any one specific texture. But it's easy to say Green Bay because they've had three quarterbacks in the last, 25 years. Green Bay can't draft wide receivers, though, can they? No, they can't. When we say, well, they draft quarterbacks all the time. No, they drafted really good quarterbacks. Just because you drafted Michael Pratt in the 7th round in 2024 doesn't mean everybody should do it and that you're really good at drafting quarterbacks. Just because you drafted Sean Clifford in the 5th round in 2023 and cut him doesn't mean that that's the way you go about it. They don't draft a ton of quarterbacks. Since Aaron Rodgers, or actually since Jordan Love, they drafted Jordan Love in 2020. It was smart. It's a first-round pick. It was smart, even though they had Aaron Rodgers, right? I'm not saying it was dumb. But we act like, okay, they draft a bunch of quarterbacks. They've drafted 2 quarterbacks since then, and neither one made their team. So what? New England had to draft quarterbacks. You know why? They didn't have one. That's an incentive, isn't it? I think it's really important that you do that. How you doing today? Good. How's your draft picks? Not good. Why not? I don't have a quarterback. Better draft one. Yes. Completely understood. I would do the same thing. I guess the question really is, when is it enough? When do you begin doing that? Drake May was drafted in the 1st round in 2024. You know why? Because they didn't have a good quarterback. Now, the same draft, they used Joe Milton. Washington did that too with Kirk Cousins and Robert Griffin III. Those were 2 accomplished quarterbacks in college. Joe Milton's coming off an injury. So Joe Milton was a 6th-round draft pick. If the Lions drafted Joe Milton, people, not you in the text, but people would be bitching that you're drafting injured players again. New England drafts a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, sure, they used Mac Jones, a 1st-round pick in 2021. He's no longer on their team. Just because they drafted him in the 1st round Does that mean it's the right thing and everybody else should do it when he doesn't even play for them anymore? I mean, that's shelf life. If I get a first-round draft pick and I get a quarterback, do I expect to have him within 5 years? I would hope so, and yet New England doesn't. But you're going to use that as an example? That's a little confusing to me. And then it's Kansas City. Kansas City drafts quarterbacks, or did they draft Patrick Mahomes? Yeah, they drafted Patrick Mahomes. Does that mean that the Kansas City Chiefs are drafting quarterbacks constantly? No. It doesn't mean that at all. And I suppose, why would you? When's the last time Kansas City drafted a quarterback? Any idea?
I mean, was it Mahomes?
It was Mahomes.
Really? So that was 2017?
2017. Yeah. They haven't drafted a quarterback since. They've addressed all kinds of other needs. Okay? So they haven't drafted a quarterback since Patrick Mahomes in 2017. How do we have this belief that suddenly these are franchises that draft quarterbacks all the time? You know why they drafted Patrick Mahomes? Because they swung and missed at Aaron Murray in 2014 when they drafted him out of Georgia in the 5th round. I don't know how to get people to believe that Jared Goff can do this. That's not my job. I think he can. I think he needs help. Most quarterbacks do. Never have we suggested that Jared Goff is the second coming of Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or others. Josh Allen needs help, and he's a great quarterback. Lamar Jackson needs help.
You think Drake May had some help in this playoffs?
And Lamar Jackson's a 2-time MVP, okay? Joe Burrow has got help, doesn't he?
Lots of it.
I would argue he's got the best wide receiver duo in the National Football League. If not the best, they have one of the best. But he doesn't have a defense. That still means that a quarterback needs help. Jared Goff is not unique in that regard. He needs help. He needs offensive line help more than anything. Why? He's not mobile. Oh, God forbid. Matthew Stafford's not super mobile. And he was able to do it. But he's got help, man. He's got good players. That's what you need. I think Jared Goff can get it there. I do. If he doesn't do it the next couple of years, I would start to wonder a little bit. And depending on what the next couple of years look like, you might be looking at a facelift in a different direction. But I think he can get it done. I think he's proven he can get it done. Well, Shep, look at who he had. Well, okay. Who's the last quarterback to win a championship without good players around him? And can somebody give me that name? Come on. It's okay if you don't believe in him. That's fine. I'm not using a draft pick this year on a really, really weak quarterback draft class. I mean, I know everybody's got Mendoza going first overall. Even that scares me a little bit. But let's say he's gone. Are you drafting 27-year-old Carson Beck in the 4th round? Or Cade Klubnik from Clemson, who is disappointing this year? Are you going to go with an undersized Trinidad Chambliss? Are you going to go with an inconsistent Drew Aller? Are you going to go with Taylon Green from Arkansas? And at what price? And who would you miss out on? It's a Tullymore Tuesday here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. We're brought to you this hour by Meyer.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
Coming up later today at 3 on the Huge Show on the Michigan Sports Network, I'll deliver huge opinions on everything you're talking about.
I would say this. When we, more oftentimes than not just us, I'm guessing a lot of talk show hosts, Billy in the afternoon on the huge show throughout the state of Michigan here on the Michigan Sports Network. Anytime you start talking about the Lions, eventually, may not be directly, but eventually, you're going to turn toward Jared Goff. Via text, the Lions have drafted 2 quarterbacks in 24 years, being reactive, Harrington and Stafford. They never drafted quarterbacks proactively. Well, I think that's a fair statement. Oftentimes, teams draft quarterbacks highly in a draft because they feel they have to. So the Lions drafted Joey Harrington in the first round in 2006, or 2002, excuse me. 3 years later, they drafted Dan Orlovsky in the 5th round. Okay. 2 years after that, Drew Stanton came in the 2nd round. I don't. How long should a quarterback be there before you draft another and it turns out to be considered proactive? I don't know what's the answer to that. Any ideas? How long do you have to have? How long should you go with a quarterback before you use another first-round draft pick on one? And you would be considered proactive. Aaron Rodgers was drafted in 2005. I'll just use Green Bay as the example since that's what was given to us via text. Aaron Rodgers was drafted in 2005 in the 1st round. The next year, Green Bay took Ingle Martin in the 5th round. Is that being proactive? Probably not, right? You're going to ride with Rodgers. They took Brian Braum in the 2nd round in 2008. Okay, so 6 years after they drafted Aaron Rodgers, they were proactive and took a 2nd-round pick. Joey Harrington was drafted in 2002. 5 years later, they were proactive, and they took Drew Stanton. Because they don't do it well doesn't mean they aren't proactive. You drafted Matthew Stafford in the 1st round of 2009. Why would you follow that up with another quarterback? I mean, they did with a couple of 6th-round draft picks and Jake Rudock and Brad Kaya in back-to-back years. If I've got a quarterback and I believe in him, I'm not using draft picks to back him up, at least not high draft picks anyway. I use free agency or I use low or mid-round draft picks. The Lions have a quarterback in Jared Goff. They tried to be proactive in getting Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round. That didn't work in 2023. They need to do it again. What round, who it is up to you as the observer, the individual. But I wouldn't do it this year, and I sure as hell wouldn't do it in a high draft pick, considering the weak parts of their team from a talent standpoint. Let's go to the phone lines, the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Who do we have?
Quick detour. Mark wants to ask you a Tigers question.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Hey, good. I love those names you came up with on the guys that you thought that may have called it quits a little too early yesterday. But when I got home, I did a little bit of research on my favorite Tiger when I was growing up on Al Kaline, and in 74 he quit after he got his 3,000th hit, and he had 399 home runs, and he could have got 400, but Carl Yastrzemski was the first American leaguer to get 400 homers and 3,000 hits. But I didn't know one thing. I asked, my Google, I asked how many players in the major leagues did not hit 300 that got 3,000 hits. And Al Kaline hit 297. I thought for sure he would have hit over 300, but there was quite a few guys between 285 and 295 that got 3,000 hits on that list. So But I just wanted to chime in on that. So I thought for sure Kaline had 400 home runs too, but he had 399. So that was kind of a bummer when I seen that. So and I wish he would have been able to play 1 year with Mark Fidrich. I seen the on the Major League Baseball Network a couple weeks ago, Fidrich's game against the Yankees in June of '76. That was just phenomenal. I was wondering if you watched that game when they sold out Tiger Stadium on Monday Night Baseball. So
I appreciate it. You too. I remember it for sure. It's a good point about Al Kaline. Al Kaline, I was fortunate to be around him a number of times, not only in spring training but also during regular seasons, because he would oftentimes come through the clubhouse and we would talk golf because he belonged at Oakland Hills and a number of other things. But when he talked about 399, I think the disappointment was, there may have been a game rained out where he hit a home run, or there may have one that gone just foul, but he thought it was fair. If you had instant replay today, it might have changed some things. But yeah, I mean, he ended up with 3,007 hits, 399 homers, 297 batting average, 10 Gold Gloves. That's Hall of Fame worthy stuff for sure. He's truly one of the greatest right fielders of all time. Our phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us Sports Radio 21,000. Back to the text line. If I was a GM, I would draft a quarterback every year, also using them for trade bait down the line, almost like drafting pitching in baseball. Yeah, I wouldn't, but that's, to each his own. I think if you're taking wasting is probably an inappropriate phrase, but to say that you're going to draft a quarterback every year, which head coach said that? Do you remember, Trent? Which head coach once said, I believe in drafting a quarterback every year?
I'm not sure.
I thought that was New England. I thought that was, the Bob Quinn belief, which, by the way, is completely wrong. They didn't do that, right? Here's what you have to understand. If you're a general manager and you're drafting a quarterback every year, and they're obviously not making it, right? Not every quarterback is going to make your team. Not every quarterback is going to play. You're going to draft one every year. What does that make you look like? Why are you wasting a draft pick on a guy whose position you just drafted the year before and the year before that? Do you have any idea what you're doing? Who's evaluating these guys? If you have to draft a quarterback every year, why in the world did you draft the guy before? You've got a starter and you've got a backup. You're telling me you're going to draft a backup quarterback every single year? That to me is a waste of your draft capital. You have 7 draft picks. At some point, you're going to use one every single year, telling everybody the year before you got it wrong, or this year you got it wrong. You're about to get it wrong. How does that make you look good, number one? And number two, how in the world are you not addressing other areas of your football team? At what point are you satisfied with a guy? If you've got a starting quarterback and you've got a good backup, why would you draft another one? Just for the sake of it? Because you don't know what you have? Well, here's what you do know. There are other parts of your team that you don't have good players on that in those positions. The positions that are in need of depth, quarterback, sure, is one of them with one player. You need multiple defensive tackles, multiple cornerbacks. You need multiple offensive linemen, multiple wide receivers. 3 wide receivers play. Oftentimes these days, because of the 13 personnel, 3 tight ends play. You're going to interchange running backs. If Atlanta's going to do it and Detroit's going to do it, everybody's going to do it, right? So you need a couple of running backs. You need a handful of linebackers. You're going to rotate DTs, and you're going to rotate sometimes some corners out there as well. Probably slot corners. You're going to use one of your draft picks every year on a position where only one guy plays, just in case he gets hurt. You're supposed to have that guy as your backup. Well, what if he gets hurt? Well, not many teams are carrying more than 2 quarterbacks, at least actively. You'll carry 3. One guy is a non-participant on Sundays. One guy might be on your practice squad. Using a quarterback every year as a draft pick at some point, meaning you'll only get 6 draft picks to ensure and, kind of reinforce what is needed on other positions, tells me that's an irresponsible general manager and one who has no idea how to evaluate the quarterback position. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Every few years, after you gauge how the guy is okay, maybe, you know what you can do? You can save that draft pick, save it for a position where you get a lot of guys who are rotating, defensive tackle, for example, okay, and go up and pick one up off, the trade wire, or pick one off free agency, or, I don't know, pick up somebody who was cut recently. There's not that many good quarterbacks out there. And you're going to spend every year chasing down a backup? Not me. I'm taking the guy who I need a starter, first and foremost. We all know that. Then you need a guy who can back up. And if you want to draft a quarterback, and if you draft your backup's a 5th round pick and he hasn't proven it, and you want to use next year as a possible 4th round because there's a guy on that board that you think can be a long-term backup quarterback, I want you to think about this for a minute. You're drafting backup quarterbacks every year unless you think you don't have a starting quarterback. And if you don't have a starting quarterback, you're going to use a high draft pick to take that quarterback. Minnesota won some games with Carson Wentz, who came off the flipping bench. Cincinnati won some games with Joe Flacco, who was released. I'm not using draft capital every year to draft a quarterback. Now, the question is whether people believe it or not, or whether they think it or not, that a guy like Jared Goff is capable. He has helped. He hasn't done it by himself. He's helped your franchise win 15 games. He's won 2 consecutive division titles. Those are 2 franchise records. He's also taken a previous franchise to a Super Bowl. What makes you think he can't do it? Besides your eye test, what would make you think Jared Goff can't take this team to the next level? You need good players around him. Fine. As I mentioned earlier, I think every quarterback needs the same. Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Text line is Sports Radio 21,000. Thursday, they're going to identify, speaking of quarterbacks, they're going to identify the MVP. Thursday's a big day. Tomorrow's a big day. Thursday's a big day. Thursday's a big day because you're going to get the MVP of the National Football League. It's going to be either Matthew Stafford or Drake May. Personally, I think it's going to be Matthew Stafford. And tomorrow, you're going to have the decision on Tarek Skubal. So big couple of days coming up if you're a sports fan. But especially if you're a Detroit sports fan, because I still think there's a little bit of a link there to Matthew Stafford. You may not want him to win it. That's fine. But there is a link to us. That creates an interest for us, I believe. Do I think he should win it? Yes. Would I be stomping mad if Drake May won it? No. First of all, I don't care if Matthew Stafford wins it or not. But I do believe, considering the competition that they played, that should be taken into consideration. And I think it's going to be a really close vote. When Drake May gets a team and does what his team has done, remember, New England's got one of the better defenses in all of football. So that's surely helped him. But he's also in, and Trent brought this up when we released the Offensive Players of the Year candidates. Who's in it? Drake May. Is Matthew Stafford? No. The NFL, somebody I know has told me this on a regular basis. They've said the NFL loves its storylines, and many people feel like a lot of these awards are predetermined. Now, it doesn't mean they're predetermined before the season begins, but as the season rolls on, this is a great story. What? A 37-year-old quarterback winning an MVP for the first time ever. Drake May, just in his second year. Well, there have been second-year guys who've won MVPs. Hi, Dan Marino. Well, yeah. But many people feel like this is a guy who has sustainability in the National Football League with a really good coach, a really good owner who just got into the Hall of Fame, by the way, and probably kept his head coach out, at least for the first vote. And he's going to have multiple chances. Oftentimes, that's the way it works, especially lately with this guy in charge, with Roger Goodell, who is an absolute simp the other day, asking him about diversity. 10 new football coaches hired. How many were black? The answer is 0. Robert Saleh's he's a mixed race, but he's not African American. And I'm not saying you do that just for the sake of doing it. I truly believe if Mike Tomlin were available, if he wanted to coach, he would have gotten a job. But he's an iconic coach. Like, who else should have gotten one? I'm surprised Brian Flores didn't. But when Brian Flores sues the National Football League, it probably doesn't look great for him moving forward with that type of opportunity, at least for a period of time. But that's Roger Goodell. I believe he helps manufacture a lot of stuff in his league. And maybe he's not alone there. Maybe there are others as well. Phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. The text line is Sports Radio 21,000. When we come back, what do we learn from the Sam Darnold lesson? And what do you think the Pistons should do? We'll shift gears a little bit. Plus, a national website has come out and given off-season grades to every baseball team, including the Tigers. What would you give them? We'll address all that and more in the final hour of X's and Bros. We're brought to you on this Tullymore Tuesday by Meyer.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Down to the final 9 games of the regular season for Michigan State basketball. 4 home, 5 away, and this week is a mixed bag. Michigan State should be a favorite at Minnesota Wednesday night after the Spartans get over the tough loss at home to Michigan this past week. But then Saturday, another big game at the Breslin Center against perhaps the hottest team of the Big Ten at the moment, Illinois. The Spartans still have hopes of winning the Big Ten championship, which they did a year ago by 3 games. But there's a lot of traffic at the top of the standings now, and as Tom Izzo himself says, the schedule back-ended has got a lot tougher games than perhaps Michigan State played at the front end of the schedule. This week, a mixed bag. Spartans need 2 wins for sure.
Huge here for the Huge Show that airs weekdays at 3. It's Super Bowl week 2026, presented by DraftKings and the Huge Show, X's and Bros, and the Michigan Sports Network. They're going to give one lucky listener $1,000 in cash to wager on the big game on Sunday. Simple to enter. Just text DK to 21,000. Text DK to 21,000, and you'll be in the drawing Friday at 5:50 p.m. on The Huge Show.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. We'll be right back after this break, but while you're waiting, be sure to vote on our daily poll question presented by MitchLyonsWealth.com at XB Mornings on X.
Okay, final hour of the program. Thanks for being with us here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. Text line is Sports Radio 21,000. Pistons back in action tonight. Red Wings won last night 2-0 in case you missed it. They won in Colorado. Just the third team to beat the Avs in regulation in Colorado. John Gibson had 21 saves. That's his fourth shutout of the year. 28th of his career. Lucas Raymond had a beautiful feed to Marco Kasper 33 seconds in to get things rolling, get Detroit on the board in a 1-0 lead, and then he added an empty netter, did Raymond. And Detroit snaps the 3-game slide. They pull to within 2 points of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Buffalo won again last night, by the way, so they're hanging right there too. But good for them, and good for Detroit. It was a heck of a response, and they're in Utah tomorrow. The Pistons are back at it against Denver tonight. So they're going to host the other Denver team. Pistons playing really well. The wonderment of Pistons fans, and Denver's good, man. I mean, they're 33-17. I mean, they're still, third place in the West, even though there's no Nikola Jokic. You're 50 games deep. Your best player, and arguably the best player in the league, has missed 16 games. That tells you something. Good for them. Jamal Murray doing a nice job. Aaron Gordon doing a nice job. Tim Hardaway Jr., the former Piston, doing a good job. And Tim Hardaway Sr. will join us tomorrow to talk about the NBA, talk about his son's team, Denver, talk about the Pistons, talk about the trade deadline that is coming up. What should they do? That's what everybody wants to know. Should they tamper with what's working for them? Or should they stand pat? Here's my belief. And you don't have to go crazy with it. The Pistons don't have to go crazy with this. Sometimes making a minor move or a not so big name, right, can be just as impactful as getting the big gun, if you will.
And that's why
Dennis Schroeder, last year, Dennis Schroeder was really impactful.
He was a huge part of that run. He hit the biggest shot of the series, one of them for the Pistons. Gave him the win in Game 3, I think it was.
Yeah, he was really good. He's exactly what that team needed.
I think it was Game 2, actually, because it was in the Garden, wasn't it? Because the Pistons never won a game in that series at home.
This year's team, needs what?
Shooting.
Right. Okay. So when I hear people talk about you don't want to bring in a bad guy because you don't want to disrupt the culture, my response is always, if your culture is what you think it is, if it's really strong, how can one guy disrupt it?
Bingo.
That guy should be able to fall in line.
And you can't operate in fear of that happening either. You can't let that hold you back from, a guy might be a little dicey on the margins, but
you do have to be careful with it. No doubt. Okay, when Rasheed Wallace was acquired by the Pistons, you know what everybody said? Bad guy.
He's going to blow it up.
Too many technical. Right. Instead, he was an ideal teammate.
I'm sure the Bulls probably thought the same thing.
Was acquired by the Pistons, and you got rid of Adrian Dantley. Everybody wondered, he could be a loner. He could be demanding the ball too much. He's a guy who's a scorer. He's a low post guy. Is he going to fall in line for what's best for the team?
How about the Bulls getting Rodman back in the 90s?
And he did. Mark Aguirre did just that. You don't make a change for change's sake. What you do is you make a change to address a need with the right person, trusting your room that they will help them along. What do we always say? Coaches say this all the time, so we reiterate this. The best led teams are player led teams, right? Okay. So if that's the case, what do you think they ought to do? What's the belief? There's a lot of different beliefs. Some think that they should just stand pat. ESPN's Bobby Marks says that. All right. He breaks teams down into tiers, and he says, look, the Pistons are a team that has something going on right now that's pretty damn good. And there's no reason to, skip forward and do anything drastically. Okay. Here's the problem with that. If you don't do anything and you come up short, people are going to cry, what? You knew what you needed and you didn't address it. Shame on you. It's not easy to automatically get everything you need. I understand that. Some people feel like they should trade for a shooter. Okay? That would be me. I think they should trade for a shooter. Who that shooter is, they would know better than I would. All right? If you're not going to disrupt your core, well, let me ask you this. Trent, who would you consider their core?
Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren,
right?
Asar Thompson,
Isaiah
Stewart for sure. I'm trying to think because I don't want it to get too long. I think that's your four right there.
Would Ron Holland be part of that?
Yeah, at the tail end, I guess. But he's a guy that I've seen in mock trades and stuff. Like, I could see him being moved. So,
okay,
those other four I don't see getting moved.
You wouldn't consider that. And you wouldn't consider Jaden Ivey that?
No.
Okay, even though they used a high draft pick on him.
Yes, 18 minutes a game right now, I think. I don't
well as
consider
Ron
him part of
Holland.
the core.
Yeah, okay. 18 minutes a game this year. That wasn't the case last year or the year before. But this year, down because coming off injury and other guys are performing. Okay.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of people feel like, well, you got a Marcus Sasser, you got a few other guys who actually could fill that void left by a guy like Jaden Ivey. Okay. If you're going to get rid of, poor choice of words, if you're going to trade Jaden Ivey, Ron Holland, draft picks associated with it, which is what every team would want, you should be able to pull in a pretty damn good player. Because the team that's getting your players also understands you're getting two young guys, one of them under pretty good control, and you're getting draft picks. Now, if I'm the Pistons and I've got my next 7 first-round draft picks, who cares? Where I expect to be drafting, near the bottom of the first round, does it really matter?
No, and that's where it changes. It does change your entire organizational view when you have a team that's this good, because you have to view it that way, Shep. You have to view it as these draft picks aren't going to be super valuable. We can get rid of some of them.
Right. ESPN's Brian Windhorst thinks the Pistons need to go into all-in mode. Championship level teams, he writes, have 2 reliable perimeter playmaking options. Title teams in the past have done that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Detroit has Cade Cunningham and no other reliable scoring threats. Do you think that's true? I think they have other reliable scoring threats. I don't think they have reliable outside scoring threats.
And I don't know if they have reliable, consistent scoring threats. Is that fair?
Consistent? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Well, I
mean, Cade is as nails consistent as it comes, but
what do you need for what do you need for consistency? Help me with that. If a guy is averaging 18, 19 points a game,
right, like Jalen Duren,
consistent,
yeah,
right. I mean, they're only getting so many shots because Cade Cunningham takes shots, right? Let's put it this way: instead of Tobias Harris, who I like, okay, but his contract is up. Instead of Tobias Harris, what if you had a high-level shooter, Lauri Markkanen, high-level shooter, Trey Murphy, high-level shooter, Michael Porter Jr.? Here's the problem. 2 of those 3 guys don't play a lick of defense. You do have other guys who can help him with that. Stewart's one of the best rim defenders and low post defenders in basketball. Asar Thompson, many people feel like is going to be an all-NBA first teamer. Jalen Duren's defense is better. How many good guys do you have? If you're going to sacrifice their offense, because you just said you're looking for another consistent shooter. If Jalen Duren's not consistent at 18 points per game, then you're looking for somebody who's going to score more, right? Okay.
Yep.
Then the strength of Stewart and Thompson and Duren is defense, right?
Without a doubt, yeah.
And rebounding for Duren and Stewart. Shouldn't that be enough to make up for the lack of offense? How about getting a guy who can actually put the ball in the hole? That's what I wrestle with. Meyer hotline 866-838-4843. Text is Sports Radio 21,000. Quick timeout. We'll get more into this on the other side with you on a Tullymore Tuesday, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for the Huge Show that airs weekdays at 3. It's Super Bowl week 2026, presented by DraftKings and the Huge Show, X's and Bros, and the Michigan Sports Network. They're going to give one lucky listener $1,000 in cash to wager on the big game on Sunday. Simple to enter. Just text DK to 21,000. Text DK to 21,000, and you'll be in the drawing Friday at 5:50 p.m. on The Huge Show.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
Ferris Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Ferris Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
You psyched for Super Bowl 60? You psyched for Sunday? I know you are. A lot of people are. It's football. You got to be fired up. Well, DraftKings Sportsbook is fired up too. They're the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60. They're going to put you right in the middle of the action. DraftKings has your back with early exit. Now, you might ask yourself, what is that? That's if a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. And if you're new to DraftKings, you get a chance to really capitalize. You can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. We're helping you out. All you got to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the code HUGE and turn that $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, though, and wants some help, have them call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio in a limited time offer. Because there's a lot of different opinions. Stand pat, okay? Draft for a complimentary piece, or draft for somebody big. Draft for a shooter. Yahoo Sports had them go all in, go get Jalen Johnson and Nikhil Alexander and see what you can do with that. And Alexander Walker, if you do that, you would give up, their words now, Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, 3 first-round picks, and 2 swaps. Each guy averages over 20 points a game. Last year, I think Trent said it about Asar Thompson. I wouldn't trade him. Now, I don't know how many non-tradable guys. I mean, who are guys there's no way you're trading on the Pistons? There's only one for me. It's Cade Cunningham. That's not revolutionary, all right? A lot of people feel that way. Everybody else is, you would listen, for sure. It would take a lot, but you would listen, right? What helps this team, if you've got interior defense in Stewart and Duren, you've got perimeter defense in Thompson, sometimes Holland, who's not bad. How do you get the shooter? How do you get the guy without disrupting too much, right? Without disrupting all the other pieces that seem to fit so nicely. You get a guy who, like Fox, for example, you get a guy like that who might at some point help you, and you don't have to give up anything but maybe some draft picks.
I think in an ideal world, you're either...
Monk. I said Malik Fox.
Yeah, I know who you meant.
De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk. That's a possibility. What's he going to give you? Is that going to really push you over the top, or do you not have guys who can already do that? I think you have to get a guy you don't already have. He possesses the type of capability that your team doesn't possess right now. That's why I like Trey Murphy. I think he would be the ideal candidate.
Same. At least in terms of like guys that are being talked about as potentially getting moved, right? He's at the top of all these articles, and it's like the Pistons needing what they need in the contenders bucket, right? Because they're at the top of the East. Like their biggest need is shooting, and Trey Murphy's being shopped. Make the call.
So that's the easy thing to say for you and I.
Yes, it is.
Here's the hard part of that. What would you give up?
I would give up Tobias Harris and draft picks. I'd try to get it done with just that.
Okay. And if you're the general manager on the other end of the line, are you really doing that?
It depends.
You saying to your team, and to your fan base, this is what we've done. We've traded for a guy who's not going to be with us at the end of the year, and draft picks are going to be at the end of the draft.
Yeah, and this goes without saying. I think it just depends how they view Trey Murphy in their organization. Like, are they just trying to get rid of him because the stock is high right now, and they fear that he's not truly this good of a player, and maybe he might come back to earth, and they might not get as much for him? I don't know. And these are things, to your point, it's easy for us to sit here and pick these things apart, but the general managers are the ones having the discussions. I have no idea what his true value is in Utah's front office, right?
No, but you can get a pretty good gauge on it, can't you? For a guy who is averaged over 21 points per game over the last 2 years. He's their leading scorer. You're going to give up your leading scorer for an expiring contract and a couple of draft picks?
Yeah, and that's where I said in an ideal world, that's where I would try to start.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a super realistic.
No, it's not. I would hang up on you right away.
What if I threw in Ron Holland?
Here's what I would need. If I were New Orleans, I would be asking for Jaden Ivey. Oh, if you want Tobias Harris, I suppose, but I wouldn't. I would be asking for youth and for future youth. I'd ask for Jaden Ivey. I'd ask for Ron Holland. I would ask for at least 2 first-round draft picks, maybe 3. That's the minimum is what I'd be asking for. And I might even ask for more because there's other people that are going to be interested in him. Okay, now, in all reality, you ask for more than that. I'm talking about realistic. If I'm the Pistons and I've got to if you're going to have Jaden Ivey, if I'm going to give you Jaden Ivey and I'm going to give you Ron Holland, I'm going to be a couple of first-round picks for that leading scorer, a guy who averages 3 threes a game in each of the last couple of seasons, is a good shooter, and is not a sieve on defense like Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, I would probably do that. But I can't expect you to take Tobias Harris and draft picks.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't think they would either. That's where I'd try to start. And then if they even listen and don't hang up right away, like you said you would have, then you can throw in sweeteners and try to make it work with some of the youth, right? And I would start with Jaden Ivey. I think that's a good point, actually. I would rather give up Jaden Ivey than Ron Holland if you can get away with that.
Yeah, in my discussions with general managers in the past, now this is in the past. It doesn't mean that that's the way it works today. You're not going to somebody with that draft or with that trade scenario and be expected to be taken seriously. They're just not going to. They're not taking the phone. Don't waste. One of the big things that general managers have always told me, don't waste my time. If you're serious about it and you want this guy, don't come to me with a fantasy. Come to me with something real, and then we can talk from there. But if you're going to come to me with something that has no possibility of moving forward, you're wasting a phone call and you're wasting my time. So that's why I would be a little bit more serious in that regard. Would it be the only move you make? Some people suggest that they should make multiple moves. Go out and get 3 guys who can flat out score. And forget the future. Forget the future first-round picks, and don't be afraid to get rid of certain other guys. I mean, there is somebody who wrote for Lauri Markkanen, okay, who I like as an offensive player. I don't like him as a defensive player. The guy's averaging 27.5 points per game. All right. And he's averaging 36 minutes a game, I might add. So he can play. Pistons sent Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, Ron Holland, and Bobby Klingman to Utah. Would you do that? I'd do that in a second. For Lauri Markkanen, I'd do it in a second. Instead of Ron Holland, I might ask if draft picks would be sufficient instead, but I'd do that deal. And they would also want Slava Mihalek coming back, is what Utah would have to do. I would like to protect the obvious guys, and including Asar Thompson. And I don't think the Pistons are going to trade him. I think if you start coming to me and you're asking for certain players, including Asar Thompson, I think Trajan Langdon says thanks, but no thanks. Phone number is on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. The text line is Sports Radio 21,000. We'll take a timeout. Back with more of your thoughts here on X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Shop Meyer and bring more good to game day with Buy 5, Save 5 deals on Watch Party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meyer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meyer app.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
Okay, 35 after the hour. Welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday from 6 until 9. Read an Athletic article the other day where they graded every single team's offseason in baseball. They went by division. So immediately, you and I, where would we go? We would go, of course, to the AL Central. So when you go to the AL Central, and they hit just about every division before that, you go to the AL Central, and then they go in alphabetical order, all right? None of the teams were super active in the AL Central, or have been, I should say, so far. They give the Chicago White Sox a B-. Okay, I'm not going to go over every single team in the breakdown. They give the Cleveland Guardians a D, all right? They give the Kansas City Royals a B. That's where they got Alex Lang, in case you're wondering, okay, and Lane Thomas. They give the Minnesota Twins a D, as in dog. And for the Detroit Tigers, they give them a C+. What would your grade be? The free agents, remember this. They signed Kyle Finnegan, 2 years, $19 million. I like that. Kenley Jansen, a 1 year, $11 million deal. Okay.
Doesn't move the needle for me at all.
Not much. Not at all. Drew Anderson, a 1 year, $7 million contract. So again, I said this yesterday. You're willing to pay $11 million for Kenley Jansen on a 1 year deal. You already have a quote unquote closer, or two. You have two strong guys at the back end of your bullpen. Will Vest is strong. I would argue Kyle Finnegan is strong. Okay. And then you got lefty and Tyler Holton. You understand the deal. You're going to spend $11 million on 1 year on an aging guy who doesn't have exactly what he's had during his prime. Not many would. And bridges a gap, I guess. I don't know if he's going to be the closer. AJ Hinch doesn't like that term. He's going to be one of your reliable arms in the back end of your bullpen, 7, 8, 9 inning situation. But for $4 million more, and I know that's a lot of money to you and I, but to an owner like Chris Ilitch, you're not going to go get a third baseman who desperately could provide what is needed for this lineup. Anyway. And then they go over the qualifying offer and the trades. Here's the takeaway. It's from Jim Bowden in The Athletic. Tigers brought back Gleyber Torres and Kyle Finnegan on club-friendly deals. Do you think 1 year, $22 million for Gleyber Torres is a friendly deal? Because I don't, personally. He writes, I like the pickup of closer Kenley Jansen to bolster the back end of the bullpen. However, they couldn't sign Tarek Skubal to an extension or agree on a contract for this season, and it looks like an arbitration panel will decide his 2026 salary. That'll take place tomorrow, by the way. Tigers lowballed him with $19 million offer. They'll probably lose the case, which would net Skubal a record-breaking $32 million deal. On the flip side, the Tigers know their future is bright because so many of their top prospects, like shortstop Kevin McGonigal, outfielder Max Clark, first baseman Jose Briseño, are getting close to the majors and all profile as future all-star talents. Here's the biggest question. Will they win or lose their arbitration case with Skubal? Will they hold on to him at the trade deadline, sign him to a long-term contract, or trade him before the season? It's a story that is not going away this year and could happen and become a distraction. Season prediction, second place. So their prediction is that Detroit finishes second. They got the Guardians third. They've got the White Sox fourth, or fifth rather, and they've got the Royals first. They don't give predictions on record. We know the Skubal thing's not going away. Here's my issue. And by all accounts, McGonigal and Clark, Briseño, Rayner, Anderson, all highly thought of. It wasn't long ago. Maybe it was. Nobody wanted to get rid of Jacob Turner. Jacob Turner ended up being a nothing burger. He was Detroit's best pitching prospect. He was a guy who you could not get rid of because he was going to be your ace. And yet, the Tigers traded him to Miami. He was a first-round pick. And trust me, we were doing sports radio back then. People absolutely loved him. He ended up winning 14 games in his 7-year Major League Baseball career. 3 with the Tigers. His career ERA is 5.37. People said there's no way you can get rid of Cam Maben. People have said that time and time again. There's no way you should get rid of this prospect or this prospect. I'm not suggesting the Tigers get rid of any of their prospects. I'm just saying it drives me crazy when you start banking on guys who haven't proven a thing. I was thinking about this last night. I've heard so many people talk about the Pistons should stand pat because they haven't proven they can win anything yet. And I thought, well, they have a funny way of showing it. They improved 30 games from one year to the next, and this year they're the best team in the Eastern Conference. And some have argued, at least at this stage of the season, they're the best team in basketball. But they haven't proven anything yet? Those are the same people who want to hold on to prospects who haven't proven anything yet. Sure, they have at the AA level. Sure, they have at the single A level. And sure, you've got a lot of scouts or baseball writers out there who are suggesting these guys are going to be future All-Stars. I've got some names for you here in a moment. First, let me tell you about DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 60. They put you in the middle of the biggest game of the year, and they've got your back with what's called the early exit. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. And if you're new to DraftKings, you can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. All you have to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's really easy. And then you type in the word HUGE. Type in huge, and you'll turn $5 into 300 bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours with DraftKings. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. The bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds are required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio, and it is a limited time offer. I do want to get to the final results of the poll question and the daily wager. Let's do that now, and then I'll dive back into what we were just talking about, but I don't want to miss out on that. So, Trent, how about first the daily wager? Let's mix it up a little bit. This hour is brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, and so is the daily wager. What did you have last night, and what do you have tonight? I assume you're going Pistons and Nuggets, but I could be wrong there. What's the daily wager tonight?
Last night, I kind of misspoke because I took Texas Tech plus 4.5. They were actually minus 4.5. Either way, they didn't cover that spread because they lost to Kansas. That was a really good game. Did you catch any of that?
I did not. Nope.
It was a really fun one.
I was watching Wings all night long.
Big game of runs. Yeah, periodically checking through. But tonight, we'll go Pistons, Nuggets, and I'll take the Pistons. I'm going to move the line all the way to 8.5. I think the Pistons win this game pretty comfortably at home against the Denver Nuggets team that I don't know if Jokic is playing. I'm looking that up right now.
Yeah, I don't think he is yet.
I think he's making his way back, but I don't think he's back yet. So maybe that's where the line is, where it's at, but I like the 8.5 for the Pistons.
Okay. And what are the final results of the poll question, the Michelin's Wealth poll question of the day?
Yeah, we asked, are the Red Wings good enough as is to be a playoff team? Mm-hmm. And the winning vote was yes as a wild card team with 51% of you. 23% of you said no, they need to make a trade. 16% said yes, they're good enough as a division winner. And only 10% of you think they're going to fade like they have the last couple of years.
Okay. All right. We have another poll question out there for you right now. Trent has tweeted it out on our Twitter handle at I just lost
XB
it.
Mornings.
XB Mornings. Thank you. And I've retweeted it. And here's the Mitch Lions Wealth poll question. Which team is more of a surprising Super Bowl participant? Is it Seattle or New England? You can vote as often as you want at XB Mornings or at ShepMatt, and the results will be tallied and given to you tomorrow. So we were talking about these great prospects, right, for the Tigers. And I'd rather have them than not, okay? But I would just remind you that there have been MLB prospects in the past, and you know this, who baseball scouts used the phrase can't miss, future All-Stars, future MVPs. Kevin Moss for the Yankees was one of those guys. Jesus Montero was one of those guys for San Diego. Brian Taylor was a left-handed pitcher. Does anybody remember Todd Van Poppel? If you follow baseball, people were drooling over the strength of his arm. A lot of hype, and it didn't happen. Matt Bush is another one. Sean BrO's, I believe is the son of Jeff BrO's, never panned out. Andy Marte was a highly thought of prospect with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Dallas McPherson with the Chicago White Sox never panned out. Brandon Wood put up video game numbers in the minor leagues. Instead comes up overhyped, never lasted. I am not suggesting the Tiger prospects are the same. I'm just telling you that when we are banking on certain guys and can't wait to see them, you got to be careful, because there's a lot of organizations that have felt that way about highly drafted, highly thought of, highly productive minor league players who were going to transition and do the exact same thing in the major leagues. And it never happened. It concerns me that so much is going on with that. Okay. And that's a serious issue. I want to see guys who can do it at the major league level before anything else. In the meantime, as the Athletic article mentions, the distraction that is Tarek School, it's going to be a distraction. So I think what's going to be required this year, as much as anything else, is a really good team that can, from day one at spring training, day one, until whenever it's resolved, there is going to be some part of the Tarek Skubal drama that will be brought up. And it will stay as one of those constant themes with the Tigers all year long until either something is done or there is some type of ruling. So, for example, it's still a conversation until tomorrow, and then it will be a conversation on how pissed off are the Tigers, how pissed off is Skubal, how is he going to react if the Tigers win their arbitration case. When spring training hits, what is going to happen with your situation? He's going to ask people not to ask him about it. Every visiting writer is going to ask him about it. Every visiting broadcast at some point is going to mention it during a series. It's bound to happen until he either signs an extension or gets traded. By the trade deadline, it will be the dominating theme, the dominating baseball storyline, not just for the Tigers, but in baseball overall. Okay. So they are, I think it's fair to say the Tigers were one of the least active teams in free agency. They have been one of the least active teams in trades recently. And this is going to be a massive story moving forward. How does it not become at least a little bit of a distraction? AJ Hinch is going to have to address it regularly, and players are going to be asked about it. If I go to Tarek Skubal and he doesn't want to talk about it, you know what I do as a reporter? I go to other people. And those guys are going to be forced to answer to all this. Okay? It is impossible. I think this is a fair statement. It is impossible to discuss the Tigers without mentioning the Tarek Skubal situation. Am I wrong about that? It's going to be a hassle, but it's fair. It's going to be regular, okay? So this is going to be a distraction. How you handle it, how you could have fixed it, well, there are obvious ways you could have done that, and they didn't. What do you do about it moving forward? Trying to convince the media not to do it is a mistake, because the media, that only enrages them. You can't tell me what to ask and what not to ask. It's not like you're going to block them out of, a clubhouse. You're not going to pull a Justin Verlander on a Free Press reporter. And I was there for that. It was very odd. You're not doing that while he was in Houston. You're not doing that. Okay. So this is going to be something that is going to be constant. I think fans are tired of it already. I think players will get tired of it as well. It won't be a big deal for national members of the media because they don't have to do it every day. They can bring it up and give their 2 cents and make it their own spin. But it is going to get old here in Detroit. And it's going to be really old for the members of this franchise moving forward. Unless, here's the only thing that I think could possibly take over the theme. That would be if the young guys, if a couple of young guys, if McGonigal and Clark, for example, if McGonigal and Clark make this team, that will be more of a theme. It wouldn't surpass it per se, but it will be an additional theme that people would like to talk about. Otherwise, what are you talking about with this team? Think about it. Basically, every position, they've done virtually nothing to their lineup. Everything's the same. Outside of a couple of pitchers, everything is the same. We all want good storylines. That's the way you're going to get it, is by beating this dead horse on a regular basis. Thanks for some time here on this Tullymore Tuesday. We're back with you tomorrow. Tim Hardaway Sr. will join us. Hope you can as well. We're brought to you this hour by